The university has sent you to find out the cause of some unexplained happenings on the mountain. It will take all of your teamwork and wits to figure it out and make it off the mountain alive. Welcome to Mountains of Madness. Mountains of Madness is a co-op resource management game for 3 to 5 players from Iello Games. Players take on the roles of explorers trying to complete encounters to find clues to the secrets of the mountain. Will your party be able to maintain their mental faculties, or will you end up a tragedy out of a Lovecraftian novel? Let's find out in Mountains of Madness. Place the mountain board in the middle of the table within reach of all players. Each player will choose a player board and place it whichever side they want, male or female, face up in front of them. Separate the encounter tiles by type and place them randomly on the matching spaces on the board. Return the rest of the tiles to the box. Find the injury cards and place them in a face-up pile in the indicated spot on the board, and place as many cards as there are players in the discard pile. Find the arcane equipment cards, marked with 10s, and place them in a face-up deck in their indicated spot. Find the relic cards and place them in a face-up deck in their indicated spot. Separate the madness cards by type, shuffle them, and place them in face-down piles on their indicated spaces. Each player will be dealt a number of cards based on the number of players in the game. In a 3-player game, each player will get 5 cards. In a 4-player game, 4 cards, and in a 5-player game, 3 cards. Keep these cards hidden from the other players. Place the timer on its space. Place the penalty die and relic tokens near the board. The first leader is the player who most recently reached the summit of a mountain. Give them the sled board with 6 leadership tokens and the airplane. Deal out madness cards according to the number of players. In a 3-player game, don't deal madness cards. In a 4-player game, all players except the first leader receive a first-level madness card. And in a 5-player game, all players receive a first-player madness card. Now, you are ready to play. The game is played over a series of turns. Each turn has 5 phases: movement, encounter, resolution, draw, and rest, which is optional. During the movement phase, players will discuss where to move the plane. During the first round, the plane can only land on the bottom row of coast tiles. During subsequent rounds, you can move to any space that is adjacent to your current space. You can return to a space that no longer has a tile on them and complete the encounter on the space. However, you cannot stay on the same space. While all players have input, whoever is the leader has the final say. During the movement phase, the leader can discard a leadership token to ignore a player's madness card for the round. During the encounter phase, players will try to work together to complete the challenges on the tiles. As soon as the tile is flipped over, flip over the timer. You now have 30 seconds to discuss what you have in your hands and what you can provide for the challenges without showing your cards. This is the only time you can speak about your cards in your hand. Once you have come to a consensus, place the cards face down on the sled. The moment a card is placed on the sled, you can no longer speak until the timer runs out. If someone speaks, you must immediately discard a leadership token. Keep in mind, if players have madness cards, the text on your madness card must be followed and overrules all other rules. At the end of the encounter phase, you come back to clarity and you forget you ever acted strange in the first place. During the encounter phase, the leader can choose to discard a leadership token to flip the timer back over, giving the players an extra 30 seconds. This can be done multiple times during the encounter phase. The resolution phase starts as soon as the timer runs out. This is when you will determine if you've completed the challenge or not. If the total value of cards matching the equipment symbols on the tile is equal to or within the range, you have successfully completed the challenge and will receive the wards listed. However, if you fail one or both of them, you will have to suffer the consequences. If you fail one of the challenges, you can choose to either give a player a madness card or roll the penalty die. Madness cards will affect your ability to communicate during the encounter phase. If the player does not have a madness card, they will receive a first level madness. If they have a first level, they will receive a second level, and if they have a second level, they will receive a third level. If a player already has a third level madness, they cannot receive any more madness cards. If all players have a third level card, and one must be given, you must return a leadership token to the box. If you choose to roll the penalty die, there are 3 possible results: accident, confusion, and loss of confidence. If you roll an accident, draw 2 injury cards and add them to the discard pile. If there is an injury left, you have succumbed to the harsh terrain. If you roll a confusion, you discard cards from the equipment deck equal to the difference between the total value of cards played of the failed type or types and the challenge value. For example, if we got 5 crates but needed 8 to 10, we would discard 3 cards from the equipment deck. If you don't have enough cards, return a leadership token to the box instead. If you roll a loss of confidence, discard 2 leadership tokens from the sled board. If you cannot, discard a token to the box. If at any point you return your last token to the box, the game ends immediately. During the resolution phase, the leader can discard a leadership token to re-roll the penalty die. Once you have completed any penalties, discard all cards played and set aside the encounter tile. Now you can move on to the draw phase. All players draw back up to 5 cards. During the draw phase, the leader can discard a leadership token to increase all players' hand size by 1 during the next turn. Lastly, there is the optional rest phase. The rest phase allows you to return all discarded leadership tokens and shuffle your discard pile back into your equipment deck, but for a price. You must discard a leadership token to the box before receiving the benefits. Once you have completed the turn, move the sled to the left and start the phases over. The game can end in a couple of different ways. If you return your last leadership token to the box, the game ends immediately. If you must draw an injury card and there are none left, the game ends immediately. If you are on the 3rd escape tile at the end of a turn, you have escaped the mountain, but you may not have been as successful as you wanted. If there are fewer relic cards than there are injury cards in the equipment deck, discard, and players' hands, then you have lost the game and returned quite different than you left. If you gathered more relics than injuries, congratulations! Your expedition was a success. And that's Mountains of Madness. You can watch us play this and many other board games live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at twitch.tv/boardgamehouse.